The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 21st day of August, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Mia Chambray, and Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break. Mia, how are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you this morning?
Well, between Teo and Tierrai, I'm lacking sleep because, we were fighting last night. Oh, trust me, last evening was one of my favorite evenings in the Daily Hour chat group, folks. You don't understand. I welcome it. I love it. I just love the fact that we can have mature adult conversations and have different perspectives, but I loved it. But all that to say, how am I doing? I'm tired because I fell asleep on the couch because they made me, no accountability, they made me watch the DNC. And I woke up like 4 o'clock, like, where the hell am I? And then I went to my bed and didn't make my jog this morning. So I'm a bit tired, Mia.
Oh my gosh. I had the opposite of you. I went to bed at like 8:30 last night. And then I woke up this morning, and I don't know if you know, it's a double blue moon this week. So it started yesterday or a day before yesterday. So I went to watch it rise down at Warwick Long Bay with my family. The next time it will happen is 2037. So from Monday night until tonight, it's rising. So I went out on my porch and looked at the morning moon, and I had a very wholesome evening. And then I looked at my phone, and it was like 400 messages. So I was like,
yeah.
Like, oh wow, okay. I thought my phone was broken. I was like,
Mia, 400 messages and none of them from you? Come on.
Not a single one from me, believe it or not.
All right. But no, you know what's crazy? I did see someone tweet last night saying, go outside, look at the moon, and didn't even click to me. What are they talking about? You know what? And if I would have made my jog this morning, I usually do see the moon when I go. So I'm double fool. That means a werewolf or something may have been out there on my jog. I probably got paid.
Okay. That's okay. You know what, Jamal, you probably fit right in with them.
I'd be out there hollering on my yeah, that you're probably right, Mia. You're probably right. Well, anyway.
Yeah, they've always been the anarchists of society, so I'm here for it.
Alrighty. Well, greetings, everyone. Thanks for making this part of your daily routine. A good one today. Guess what? This is a first. Now, we've had Mia, Sherry, Sandra, Tierrai, Maya, Teo. We've had pretty much everyone who's a co-host on this show as a guest before they were co-hosts. But today is a first because Tierrai is going to be a guest for Bermuda Youth Connect today. We're going to be discussing their voter registration drive. Yeah. I love it. The Daily Play. Oh boy, this is music. So we're going to do lyrics today. We're going to see if Mia or the audience can guess the lyrics. Yeah, okay. Guess what song these lyrics belong to. I think it's rather easy without a hint, but
okay.
I have to give a hint. Look, folks, let me just tell you what I said to Mia before we came on. I said, Mia, I was showing a friend of mine from St. Lucia, I was showing some Bermudian artists because, talking about St. Lucian artists and Bermudian artists. And I went and I pulled up Proud to be Bermudian. And I forgot Mia was on the song singing my favorite part. And I was like, dang, that's Mia. She's like, oh, that's the one from the show. But anyway, I forgot. So all that to say, make sure you go check me out up at Zora Saturday.
Saturday nights. Yep. We're Saturday nights at the Azora and Friday nights at Cafe Lido.
Correct. Friday night Cafe Lido and Saturday nights Azora. So let me know if you need any backup singers. I mean,
I would love that.
Yeah, to do it, but I may know somebody.
Oh my gosh. You know what? You and Gunnar. Gunnar's actually part of the band. That's my little boy. He's 5. So he comes and sings, and we just do like a whole family thing. We were talking about Michael Jackson last night, and he was like, "Mommy, Michael Jackson started singing with his family band when he was 6. Does that mean I can start singing with the family band when I'm 6?"
I love the way our minds work.
I'm like, if they pay you, yes.
I think Sancho's son Maddox. I think he does a little duet with his dad sometimes.
He does. He's fabulous. I saw him at the Ag Show like a few years in a row. Yeah.
Kids are talented these days. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Wednesday, Jamel, Mia, Teo. Who won the fight? Well, Mia, you didn't participate. Who won the fight?
Oh, I actually, Suzanne, you know what? I got up this morning and I danced under the moonlight, as we discussed. And then I actually had to start really getting ready. So I have very briefly kind of just scanned over the messages. But I have to say, I have to go for Sancha and Tierrai. And
what?
I'm sorry.
Hold up. It was Teo and Phil. They all jumped me, folks. They all jumped. So I must say, we got to get into our conversation, but I must say, I think I am thankful for Tierrai asking me a question she asked, and I'll share it with you. I'm so grateful that she asked, because she asked a question. I really, as big mouth as I may be, there's certain things I just don't say because I want to avoid conflict or conversations with people. But our TH group is a safe space where I think we can all, share and agree, disagree, whatever. But she asked me, what would it take for me to vote for the Democrats? And my answer was very simple. Eliminate federal taxes. That's my issue. And as I said last night, if anyone knows me when it comes to politics, it'd be Teo, right? And some people have an issue with it. I will go based on one issue if I feel that one issue is that big. Example was conscription. So yeah, I'm loving it though, because Teo and I are probably going to fight right up until the election, and then he's got Tierrai now. So I'm looking for, I'm recruiting somebody on the TDH team to be in my corner. If you all don't want to hang with me, that's okay too. Teo says, shout out to the crew. I honestly haven't been part of more diverse political perspectives. And yeah, I already knew the shoot. What happened, dude? All right, let's get into today's conversation. Enough about me and my politics. So Mia.
Yes.
Last week, Skyport released their travel schedule, and a lot of people had some things to say. But for those who may not know, so according to the Royal Gazette, Skyport released its airlift fall numbers for September as the season slows down. So here's some key things that people should know. So it showed reduced flights from Bermuda and Miami, right? Between Bermuda and Miami, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Toronto, Fort Lauderdale, along with end of seasonal service between Bermuda and Azores, right?
Yes.
Did I pronounce that right? Azores?
Azores, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So American's going to halt its daily service to Miami effective September 2nd, while modifying its service between the island and Charlotte as well as Philadelphia. That Miami flight usually does that now. While the airline will continue to offer daily service from Bermuda to Philadelphia, it will cut back flights from the U.S. city to the island from 7 to 4. Unfortunate. The airline will simultaneously reduce the from Bermuda to Charlotte to 4 weekly flights while maintaining daily flights from North Carolina City to the island. All right. The airline will also continue to offer daily service to and from New York and Washington. All right. Now, Air Canada, meanwhile, will cut its flights back, Toronto flights from 5 a week to 4, effective September 5th. And then Bermuda Air will reduce its service from Bermuda and Fort Lauderdale from 3 weekly flights to 2. So I think that's just Friday and Monday. Yes. They'll continue Boston, Westchester, Baltimore, Toronto, and Halifax will continue unchanged. And then, as mentioned, the service via, is it SATA Airlines, to Ponta Delgada will end on September 10th. British Airways will continue its daily service, while United Airlines will continue its daily service to Newark. Meanwhile, JetBlue will continue to offer daily flights to both Boston and New York, while Delta Airlines will maintain 3 flights to Atlanta and 4 to New York. All right, so you see all that, right? You know what?
I know that. Yep.
Let me do this, Mia. So while we talk about it, people can actually see it on screen. So let me do this, because it's only right that they get to see it, right?
I agree. Yeah. And I wonder, what are people's initial thoughts about these airline, cuts, about the airline flight cuts? What is the audience thoughts on this? Because it's been kind of a point of conversation. They cut the flights to Boston. Many people go to Boston for medical. And I think it's definitely been a point of concern for Bermudians for a long time, but then also on the other side, attracting tourists or visitors to the island. If there's only a limited amount of flights, and then trickle-on effect, there's only a limited amount of properties for people to stay. It's not really looking great in the tourism department either. So for people to go out, so people, because Bermudians love to travel, we're bougie and we love to go away, and we obviously, lots of our friends and family live overseas. What are our audience's thoughts on these cuts?
Yeah, you can't really see it. I'm sorry, folks, you can't see it, but yeah, what are your thoughts? What does Bermuda need to do to improve airlift to the island? What do we need to do? But also, let's ask this question: what direct route do you think Bermuda needs daily flights to? Like, what direct route do you think Bermuda needs daily flights to? Now, what I read just now, I know you mentioned Boston, right?
Yes.
Well, JetBlue will continue to offer the daily flights to Boston, so that's a good thing.
It is great.
But because a year and a half, 2 years ago, we didn't have that. I mean, I remember they were fighting hard to get that. But what direct route do you think Bermuda needs daily flights to? I mean, the UK, Toronto, Miami, is it a destination that we don't currently have? Like,
right.
What airline? I'm insane. What direct route? Sorry.
What direct route that we don't currently have? I mean, I would love like a direct route just to Italy, but that's a bit. That's just me.
We can't even UK right, me.
I know. I think perhaps Dubai. No, just kidding.
The people might go for that, actually.
The tea's coming in hot. No, I actually love they have a direct flight to the Azores. I think that's been really, really incredibly popular. And I think that, if I could say, I think that should be an all year round. I think because we have such a huge Portuguese community, that is a very sought after flight. And I think that it's something that would do really well all year round. I understand why they do it seasonally. So they do it summertime and Christmas time. But I actually think that it would be a really popular flight. And I think also a lot of people that go and visit the Azores from Europe, etc., would then think, oh, well, maybe I'll just jump to Bermuda, because it's not a very long flight. It's only 5 hours. So it might be a way to encourage tourists, because they're touting the Azores as the Hawaii of Europe. So while you're kind of in the Azores, then you could, say, oh, I'll tack on another week on my trip and maybe just go to Bermuda. It's only a 5 hour trip. So that might be a nice way in regards to doing a little bit of a tourism sentiment, or a tourism tack on. I
like that. And that flight was long overdue when it first started. I love that. Why do they do it seasonal? Do you know?
I think it's because many of the Portuguese workers. So, by the way, I'm half Portuguese. My family were Portuguese immigrants. My grandparents came over as Portuguese immigrants from the Azores, from San Miguel. So, that being said, I think it's because the Portuguese workers, that's the time during construction that there's time for, like, especially Christmas time, construction really slows down and they have like a really long break. So I think it's a time where people have more time off, and when employers are more willing to give their Portuguese employees time off. So I believe that's why it's Christmas and summertime. I think that's predominance. And then obviously a lot of people like their kids and they want to take their families on vacation or go back and see family who live in the Azores. And so that's more of like a summertime. And then of course, Christmas holiday time. So I think that's why.
Got you. Makes sense. What are your thoughts, audience? What does Bermuda need to do to improve airlift, and what direct route do you think Bermuda needs flights to daily? Sherry Vanderpool says Atlanta. I think I'm going to echo you right there, because Atlanta's down to what, 3 a week? I think I said 3 a week. Renee Simmons also says Atlanta. What else? You know what? When I was working in Bermuda tourism, you know where people were really, really hoping to get a direct flight from?
Where?
Chicago.
Oh.
Third largest city in the U.S. Yeah. People, even, and I'm not just talking Bermudians. I'm actually talking about clients. Like a lot of people I met with in the tourism space were always asking, when is Bermuda going to get a direct flight from Chicago? And, again, it's the third largest city. It is the Midwest, but probably would have made sense back then. Again, we probably don't have the hotel beds to kind of go that route at this point. Look, let's be honest, right? It's economics, it's supply and demand, right? I mean, if the demand's there, we will have the airlift, right? We'll have at least airlines looking into it, and hopefully new destinations and people to fly in from those destinations, right? But yeah, Chicago was one that came up.
Chicago, that would be amazing, because it's like, so they have the most brutal winters. So that would be perfect. Like, come to Bermuda. There's a direct flight. I mean, if I was there, I would just be getting right on that flight and going right to Bermuda, because sometimes people don't necessarily want to go deep down in the Caribbean, because it is kind of a far journey where you have to go to a connector. You want to go if you're in Mexico or things like that. But Bermuda actually is really palatable for lots of people traveling, especially if you have kids, etc. You could come, and it's not like there's not a lot of travel time in regards to just get on a plane, just say from Chicago, and you got here. It wouldn't be a ton of travel time. I mean, it would be a little, how long do you think it would take? About 4 or 5 hours from Chicago? How long do you think it would take, Jamal?
Probably 5. Probably
5
yeah.
hours?
Probably 5 hours.
So 5 hours is not bad if you're from the States. I mean, you're going to right down deep down in the Caribbean. You're looking at, I don't know, 6 hours maybe.
Well, they have flights going from Chicago to the Caribbean all the time, and Mexico and the likes. Yeah, I would say so.
So if you want to do something a little bit different and maybe have like more of a elevated experience with your family, you could come to Bermuda as opposed to going to a different destination. But if we don't have the direct flight, then it's never going to be a thing.
You said something too. I mean, brutal winters, man. I mean, again, to me, it could be a very easy sell. I mean, have your meetings in Bermuda rather than, freeze in Chicago, or, rather than that ice cold commute. It makes sense to come during that time. What else, audience? What are your thoughts? Direct routes. Karen Simmons says Chicago as well. Yeah. Renee Simmons says I was thinking Chicago. Suzanne Ingham says UK, Boston, Florida, Georgia, Portugal, Canada. People can connect flights once in these places. I think we have the UK is not daily, right? It's 4 to 5 times a week. Boston will be daily. Boston's daily, JetBlue. No direct daily in Florida throughout the state. Atlanta 3 times a week. Portugal, nothing. Canada, it's like 3 or 4 times on Air Canada, and I don't know what it is on Bermuda Air. I mean, I can look at that right now. But
I think they said Bermuda Air is cutting it down to 3, and I think Air Canada is 4 times a week. I believe they said. Yeah.
That's why as a co-host there.
Yeah.
Once they arrived, she said, Derek Hendrickson said somewhere in the Caribbean, and he goes on to say St. Kitts. And then Hadley and Swan also said Jamaica. I wish that could be resumed. So for ages, there's been talk about a connection in the Caribbean. Financially, what would that look like from a daily perspective, though? From a daily perspective, what would that look like? As it's, I mean, is the demand going to be there? Let's be honest. Bermuda is not like many other islands. It's going to be more expensive to visit and come to. And keep in mind, outside of Bermuda Air, these flights, really, it's about driving people to Bermuda, not Bermudians flying out. So keep that in mind. It's not about where we want to fly. It's about what's best for business.
Absolutely. And then what are we... I mean, I don't really, in regards to our tourism product, I'm not really sure what we're selling. I have to say one thing that I thought was amazing. We had that running event that was put on, and all the famous runners who were then in the Olympics had just come to Bermuda.
Yeah.
I thought that was like unbelievable, because then the runners that we had just seen in Bermuda now they have all this big Netflix special, etc. They were now on this, global Olympic stage. So I think sport tourism is, now listen, Jamal, you guys love sports, and when you talk about it in our chat, I don't know anything about sports. I literally know nothing about sports. So if you ever want to do the daily question, ask me something about sports, because I'll just be like, I don't know. But I think that sport tourism is something that I know that we used to have teams that used to come over and do their training. So how like baseball during the off season, they come and they do the training. I think they're really onto something with that, with the sport tourism, and kind of reinvigorating that, and getting teams to come over and do their kind of winter training in Bermuda. I think that's something that really I feel like there's a spark there that just needs to be really ignited. But where do these guys train normally? Do they train?
It's interesting you said, because I remember Michael Dunkley, former premier, shared something years ago that the Yankees back in the early 1900s actually came to Bermuda for their preseason training and so on. Like you said, I think that the track event was big for Bermuda. I mean, not just the event itself, but the coverage of it on NBC and just it gave us so much more than I think people could have imagined. Unfortunately, I don't think it's returning to Bermuda next year, but I don't know if we really got as much as we could out of it. Not to say that the event didn't do its part. I think the event did great, but I feel like from a local perspective, and I'm not picking on other mediums, there are people, but I feel like local media could have done a better job in hyping it, promoting it. These are the opportunities we can't afford to lose. So I agree, sports tourism is a great way to go, and it's a great way to get that airlift to Bermuda going. One of the best. Look, you've got who does big things in sports tourism? Florida and Arizona.
Yes.
But the U.S. MLS and USL soccer teams, you've got the baseball teams, they're all doing their preseason training January through March.
Yep.
Who needs people and tourists during that time? Go
exactly.
to so you're on to something, Mia. Well, look, I'm not gonna let them get mad at you like they do Sancho. Well, no, go ahead. Actually, better you than me. Better you than me.
Well, yeah. So something like that would be amazing, so that we could get, we could really encourage them. And then, sports teams have money. So while Bermuda is expensive, these sports teams they treat their players like, prizes, so they really have the money to invest in their players. And I think if we had put some investment into these facilities, then it would bring people to, build it, and they will come. I think that would be so. Like Atlanta would be a great. I can't believe there's no direct flight to Atlanta. That's actually
just 3 times a week.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Sorry, there is one, but only 3 times a week. I think that's nuts, because I think that's actually crazy.
Well, I mean, as Atlanta's the busiest airport in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that really makes sense. Real quickly, let's go to these comments before we bring Taylor in. Charles H. Jeffs II says Dallas would also be a good connect from the Midwest and West Coast of the U.S. Absolutely. In city. Charles H. Jeffs goes on to say we need group business, particularly in the off season, to stand year-round flights. Despite Vermont Southampton being closed, there is group business that we can accommodate, such as sport. Absolutely, we're all on the same page, Charles.
Yeah.
Renee Simmons says Nevada, San Francisco, Utah, or LA, somewhere West Coast direct. Oh, you want to go that far? Okay, all right.
I love the idea of Texas. Texas would be amazing. Like Austin or Dallas would be fabulous. I love that idea.
I would agree. Let's bring Taylor Dillon for Daily Hour News Break, and then we've got a co-host situation who's going to be a guest today to continue last night's fight. All right, let's bring Taylor, see what he's got to say to my face this morning.
Morning, fam. Good to see you. How's everything?
Hey, Taylor. Good morning.
Hey, girl. You deserve to be tired. You genuinely do, because more than anything else, you didn't show the appropriate level of love and appreciation for my girl, Shelly O, aka Mrs. Michelle Obama, who
How about
was, as I predicted, the best speaker at an star-studded, like really, really well put together Democratic National Convention. She killed it. I knew she was gonna. If you haven't watched it, her clips are all over the place. Check it out, the whole thing in full. Look at it; it's beautiful.
First off, I had to understand his lingo, Billy C and Shelly O. I was like,
Me too. Me too, Jamal. I was like, Billy C. Is that Bill Clinton?
right.
Yeah. No, that's my man. The man from Hope, Arkansas, baby. That's me and him go way back. Like, that's my man.
The second thing is, did she mention anything about cutting federal taxes?
No, she did not.
Okay.
And honestly, Jay, this is the one thing that is challenging for me to reconcile, because like I know you and I get why you think federal taxes should be eliminated completely.
Yep.
But I don't understand how you dig Bernie Sanders, because the central platform of his entire political idea is to tax the wealthy. We all know that.
I ain't wealthy. I couldn't have been impacted by Bernie. You know
Well, he's not talking about you. He's not talking about you.
Anyway, I was, anyone who knows me, I was a big Bernie guy back in 2016, 2015, 2014, like big Bernie guy. I thought that he had the plans, everything. He just came across like he wasn't just there to talk. And if you followed him, Teo, as you mentioned last night, this guy's been consistent since the 60s. you know, and Tierrai and Phil are so silly because they're like, he's going to mention the 1%. He's going to it's like a broken record. He is, but
yeah,
you all know me. I stopped, Matt. And again, audience, they made me comfortable to talk last. I don't know why Tierrai, the youngest of them, asked that question, and I finally became comfortable saying it. But yeah, I stopped messing with the Democrats when they did Bernie dirty, and Teo wouldn't accept my answer last night.
No, I accept the answer. I genuinely believe that's what you genuinely believe. I'm just saying you're wrong. Like Hillary was winning. Bernie never had a path to the nomination. He didn't. And I'm somebody that if I was an American, lived out there, I'd have been knocking doors for that man. But yeah, he never had a path to the nomination.
Well, Teo, guess what?
What?
Out of us all, because Tierrai and Sherry ain't done what they have to do, I'm the only one on the show that has a vote in November. And my vote ain't going to one guy, but the other lady needs to earn it.
Okay. And you're voting in Georgia, right?
Well, if they let me on the ballot.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. So you're in one of the few states in the U.S. where your vote is super consequential.
It matters.
Right? Like it is the high value vote. So, all right, Mia, audience, we got to do everything we got to do between now and November to get Jay comfortable voting for the Harris Walz ticket. We just have to.
Okay.
For this, I mean, like it could be like genuinely a difference maker. As far as like world history is concerned.
Why is Tierrai?
It's a big deal.
Why is Tierrai yelling at me?
Okay. All right, Jamal, come on. We got this. We can do this. All I can say is if it was getting this spicy about the American election, I can't wait till the Bermuda election.
Oh,
it's going to be popping off in the chat.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a real fight there.
It's going to be 1,000 messages.
Yeah. Charles is saying, do we need to show Jamal how a bill becomes law in the U.S.?
Charles, that's not nice. That's unnecessary. I mean, I get why you asked, but, it's not necessary.
First off, Charles, as Phil reminded folks last night, it starts on the local level, which is something I've been screaming since 2016. Mm-hmm. That's the focus. But as it relates to a federal level and bills, honestly, man, I said this off air to Mia and Tierrai. I honestly don't think there's another group outside of Black people that gives their vote. And I'm talking about Bermuda. Bermuda, you are guilty if you're Black to vote for the PLP. Let's be real. Let's be real. You are guilted into voting PLP. And in the US, I feel like Black people are literally guilted in voting for the Democratic Party. No, in saying that, I am not one of those people. I have been tied to a political party, never again. Because when people get this political power, they tend to forget about who? The voter. And then check you in 4 years when we need you again, just like they used my boy Bernie last night. He likes being used.
All right, we got some work to do, family, clearly.
All right, what you got in this?
Now, as far as the news, Premier David Burt currently has something in common with Kanye West.
Oh.
What?
They're both in Wyoming.
Oh, my.
Now, Ye is there because the land's cheap and it's easy to buy nitrous oxide, while Premier Burt is there to participate in the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, a partnership between global investment platform SALT, Kraken, a leading digital asset exchange, and the University of Wyoming Center for Blockchain and Digital Innovation. Premier Burt is going to participate in a feature discussion today called Digital Assets in Bermuda, where he's going to share insights into Bermuda's progressive approach to digital finance regulation.
I don't understand fintech.
Me neither.
Yeah. Well, you know how when we get to one story, it leads me to ricochet into other ones. So this crypto conference, which is a big deal, like in the fintech space, but it got me looking for some of the problems that continue to exist in fintech. And I found one that I think you may not have even heard of yet. It's a crypto hustle that's ending up with people losing their life savings. It's called pig butchering.
Pig butchering got its name due to the nature of how it's typically executed. The victim is first fattened up.
Our scammers will spend up to 4 to 5 hours a day texting their victims. The victim will note that this scammer has become the relationship they always wished they had. Holding their hand through every piece of it, they will direct our victims to take money out of their banks and invest it into what they believe is a cryptocurrency platform.
The fraudulent website platform that they used was mimicked after a real cryptocurrency trading platform called Kraken Futures. And the website was built in a way that it looked like a completely legitimate cryptocurrency trading platform. It had options, spot.
Oh, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I think that was my bad. But
We're hacked by the crypto.
Right?
No, we got DDoSed.
Yeah, we just got done. So it just seems like, as Tierrai says, she's asking also, are we still promoting fintech given all this controversy? And then obviously the arbitrage story in the Royal Gazette yesterday. It seems so scammy. I'm not saying it is because I don't understand it. I really don't want to speak out of turn, but it just as an outsider, it seems so scammy.
I agree.
Yeah.
And didn't that guy come here and then they signed all these things and then he ended up going to jail?
I know. I
From
think there's a couple couple of them.
right.
Like the local regulators haven't been implicated. And nothing like that. It's they were committing crimes overseas.
Yes,
typically.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my dollar. I got scammed 2 weeks ago. I had to get a new card, you guys, because I fell for something on Instagram. And
are you serious?
I'm dead serious. They had to send me a new
How?
card, block my account.
Bernie Sanders t-shirt.
Oh. Just kidding.
No, Mia's winning today. and also, a whole bunch of folks are going to win this evening at National Stadium because there's a free screening of an important documentary for families and those who aspire to having and feeding their infants. The movie is called Milk, Born into This World, and it'll be screened by the Department of Health at Nationals to help lay out the purpose, power, and politics of infant feeding around the world. It's all part of the National Breastfeeding Month's observance. It's starting at 6:30, and you can register your seat for the screening via gov.bm/breastfeeding. And here is a small piece of the trailer.
I'm dying to know the problem of infant formula flooding into emergencies. Is that still happening?
It's still happening with the big emergencies.
It's cynical marketing, and the media haven't got hold of the truth.
These are gifts that I received in the mail from the formula companies.
It's a huge industry. They are lobbying for hospitals to give out their gift packages and information, and to doctors to recommend their products.
When you pull out a bottle in a circle full of moms, everybody looks. There are some people who are so judgmental.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot to say about that, but I'm not going to say it today. I'll save it.
Well, what I was going to add is that if you want to depress yourself like deeply today, just Google the history of Nestle brand formula in below the southern half of the equator. It's horrifying what has been done specifically just to lock in a guaranteed market for generations. I honestly, I don't think we can talk about it on the air. It's that horrifying.
It's too much of a conversation, but I was just going to say, it's no different from pharmaceuticals. Like if you look at any newscast in the U.S. every night, their biggest, advertisers are pharmaceutical companies, right? There's a reason we don't get the information we need as it relates to that kind of stuff, because who's going to report on it? Who's going to share it with us? We have to do our own digging and research. And in saying that, I've always felt, it's just having a chat in one of my guy groups about some of the guys not having a physical in the last 3 years because they refused to go to their doctors who were pushing the shot, right? And I was like, interesting, but how many doctors are really saying, look, I'm getting paid for giving this medication. So look, they're getting paid by the company and so on. I think this is a trend in capitalist markets, no?
Agreed. That food, cosmetics, everywhere you turn, there's just, it's deep and dark and harrowing. So yeah.
It makes you want to cry and scream and never stop. The more you learn about this song, let me try and lift the mood a little bit. Sorry about that. If you sometimes look at your loved ones who live in the UK, like you're on their Instagram and you see them just living, like just looking good, feeling happy, feeling comfortable, chill. There's a new problem out in the UK that I promise you want no parts of. Giant spiders that can grow to the size of rats and actually catch and eat fish. Spiders that catch fish are making a comeback in the UK due to years of dedicated work by environmentalists. This fen raft spider that you can need two hands to pick up because they get that big, lived in the British wetlands for centuries, but they were almost wiped out by the Industrial Revolution, like draining their habitat and stuff. Well, they're back in a big way, and they're going to have their best ever breeding year on record in Norfolk and Suffolk. Now, what I really wanted to get to with all that is just to say a regional environmentalist said, quote, "We just don't know how far they're going to spread. And that's what's exciting, seeing which bits of habitat they take over next. The females are impressive in size, but also beautiful. They are truly special to see." Now, those sentences, I can't make them map on to these gigantic spiders. Like, it's crazy. Why are you making that face?
I just I get that every creature has its place in the world, right? I don't get those ones. I catch fish. We have fishing line. We don't need their help.
Well, they make their own. But Mia, are you one of them people that if a spider shows up in the room, not like little daddy long, I mean like one that takes up some space, like a wolf spider or something, how do you react to it?
Well, as an environmentalist, this is really exciting to see that it was on the brink of extinction, and due to like dedication, it's been able to come back. So that's actually phenomenal. It was a part of like a really integral part of like the British environment and biodiversity. So from that perspective, although it's like scary and it's a big spider, spiders don't really want to be in your house. They want to be outside. So I don't think that we'll have a big problem with these fish-eating spiders. So that's exciting from a scientific point of view, and from an environmentalist point of view, it's very exciting. But if a big spider turns up at my house, I get a bowl, and then I'll get like a piece of, and then I'll
paper or something.
Paper, yeah. We don't kill. Like even when all the ants were coming in our house during the hurricane, and I started to sweep them outside, and Gunnar was like, "Mommy, they're just trying to find shelter. Leave them alone." That's kind of
oh, honey.
That's kind of the
Girl.
house. That's the house that we
No,
live.
congratulations. That's what I aspire to be real with you. But but you know what? I think our daughter is kind of in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not on Gunner's level yet, but we're getting there.
Well,
That's super dope.
Our audience, they don't want to see any type of spider, fly, shape, ever. Charles is saying, I hope we make sure our friends and family don't inadvertently bring those back to Bermuda. Renee Simmons says they got to keep them there, search our flights or fumigate. We've got Suzanne says, kill those spiders, kill that bugger now, die. Mia, if they come here, I'm sending them to your house. Honestly, I believe all creatures have a space, right? Honestly, I do, except lionfish, I'm hearing, right? But
yes.
But in saying that, we have a lizard problem in Florida. Lizards like to try to, go places where they shouldn't be. So I try not to kill them or bring them in. Hey, Gunner.
Hey, man.
That's Gunner.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, congratulations on being such a good environmentalist. You're setting the standard.
Raising them right. Tell you what you got for the weather for us. We got to bring Tierrai in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, y'all. So the rest of this week's weather should be mostly mild, partly cloudy skies, short bursts of rain, air temps maxing out closer to mid 80s than the high 80s. This is because of a humid southerly flow of wind being generated in advance of another low way out to our west that's nudging up against the Bermuda Azores high, moving into our airspace from the east. So yada, yada, yada. Not probably going to need your umbrella that much.
Alrighty. Mia, have you got a good days of the year?
Yes, we do. Days of the year. So today, on this day, and it's kind of funny because I just saw her recently, the Mona Lisa was stolen in 1911 by 3 very crafty Italian robbers. And it was not received back until 1913. The media sensation they caused in the early 1900s helped to bring it back to its rightful place. And also, it really helped give Mona Lisa the promotion that she needed and became one of the most famous paintings of all time. Yes.
Yeah. That painting is even used in memes now. Like they got the one where, what your budget versus what you actually want. You know what I'm saying? And they have the but no,
that's a good one.
So her being stolen actually helped catapult her into catastrophic fame. And I saw her this summer, and she was beautiful. She was amazing.
All right, we're getting in trouble. Charles is saying we're cutting into our guest time. So let's bring in our so-called guests. Yeah.
And say goodbye to me because I got to go do some stuff. Thank y'all very much. Take care. See you.
See you soon. All right. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Be back in a minute, 57 seconds with Tierrai Tull. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little Tierrai, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paws dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Mia Chambray, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Wells, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our guest for today. Well, co-host guest. No, let's bring in Tierrai. Give her a warm TDH welcome, folks. Act like you don't know her. Oh, good. She's on mute, so I can say what I want, and she can't respond.
Nice try, Jamel. No, you cannot. Good morning.
I forgot you can hear me while you're on mute. Hey, Tierrai, how you doing?
Like you, I'm tired from, debating the enemy all night.
Hey, Tierrai.
I'm here.
It was beautiful, and audience, I'm telling you, we have some of the best conversations. Mia, you usually lead them. That's why I was shocked you were asleep last night. She's good in leading them the conversations about stuff. But last night I had energy and time, so.
Wow. You guys are energized. You guys are really energized.
Yeah, we missed you, Mia. So the next time you have to clock in.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to work on Sancha and Larry. But look. Tierrai, you're here to talk about Bermuda Youth Connect's voter registration drive today. Just speak to the people. Remind people about Bermuda Youth Connect, what it is that you guys do, what's your role.
Yeah, of course. So Bermuda Youth Connect is a group of 4 girls. We were back home during the pandemic in 2020, and this was right when the SNAP election was announced. And we were like, okay, we want to vote, but we didn't see any effort to encourage young people to vote. So when we didn't see that, we created it, and Bermuda Youth Connect came about, and we hosted a pre-election youth forum and a pre-election leaders forum where we interviewed leaders and also people who are running in constituencies. And since then, we've just been really active socially. And sometimes when we're back in Bermuda, we host events just to keep the youth engaged and get them involved and mostly interested in politics in Bermuda.
Indeed. And what I understood, and I remember when you guys first started, you were trying to get a debate between the leaders and the like, which would have been historic. Hopefully you can still do that. But why did you as a group decide to have a voter registration drive?
We felt like there's been a lot of talk about the next general election. There's a by-election coming up in October. We just had one last year as well. So there's a lot of buzz about change in Bermuda, and we wanted to do something to get young people involved, or at least remind them that they deserve to be a part of these conversations and are a really important part of these conversations. So we're hosting the voter registration drive, firstly, to remind young people that they are agents, and they're agents that matter, but also to encourage them to vote in the upcoming by-election. But also, as we look forward to a general election, we want to make sure that we already are as organized as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And Tierrai, what are you hoping to achieve with the voter registration drive?
As many young people as possible getting registered to vote and then showing up to vote. But also, I think we want to make sure that young people are comfortable in their agency, because I think in Bermuda, there's a very big culture of like young people should be seen and not heard. And then there's a double layer of whether maybe you're racialized, maybe you're a woman, maybe you are a gender minority. So there's different layers of visibility in Bermuda. And we want to make sure that young people are just engaged and feel good. So we're hoping like if we can get at least like just one person to register to vote who otherwise wouldn't have, I think it would be successful. But more than that, we want to make sure that adults and young people alike know that young people are in the room and have always been. But now, as we look to the digital age, we are really hoping that they can become a really important base that politicians feel like they are obligated to. So then when we say we would like to have a debate next year, when there's a general election, there's no big controversy about why this should or shouldn't happen.
Yeah, real quickly, just jumped in. Suzanne Ingham saying Tierrai, the by-election wasn't last year, it was May this year. No, but there was last year as well. There was the one between Misha Fabla and Ben Smith last year. Well, Thomas resigned, but yes, there was the one Michael Donkler's seat as well, Suzanne. So crazy enough, we're having a lot of by-elections.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if anything, that just tells us what mode we're actually in. If there's been like 3 by-elections in the past and we're like kind of getting confused about when they were, it just shows that there's a lot happening right now. And I think that also just encourages Bermuda Youth Connect to mobilize even more and just make sure that young people are there.
Tierrai, how are you encouraging people to come out and vote? And why do you think it's so important for young people to vote? I mean, I've been voting since I was 18. I made sure I was like registered. It was just, politics has always been a big part of my family conversation generationally. So, but why do you, how is Youth Connect encouraging people to come out and vote in regards to how are you letting people know about the registration? And then why do you think it's so important for young people to vote?
So we do most of our advertising on social media. We have an Instagram page, a Twitter page. We have a TikTok and Facebook. So I guess we meet young people where they are, especially, which typically is on social media. So we do a lot of work on Instagram Live, stories. Like we're just really active on social media, and that way we've kind of like built an audience of people who trust us. But I think more personally, we're all really young. So we just kind of have these groups, these pockets that we are like, okay, we're voting. Like, are you registered to vote? Sometimes it's asking a friend, hey, are you registered to vote? Like, let's go vote. Or do you know what's happening? It's oftentimes partnering with other youth organizations like Bermuda is Love, Beyond Inclusion. Like, I think we're trying to maintain connectivity across our youth, like our peers, but also build out connections to young people that we may not have access to. I mean, all 4 of us, Ajay, Pete, Haley, Chiar, Veronica DeGraff, and myself, we're all in college and about to go get master's degrees. So there's high school students who like we don't have access to on the daily. So we use kind of Instagram and social media to connect to them. And it's important just because we want to make sure that it's not about us 4, but about the youth as a kind of broader generation, so that when we do kind of get older, there's like an engaged population even after we leave.
Interesting. I guess the question now is, what are some of the challenges? Like, I mean, don't tell any young people follow me because I will create a challenge in itself. But what are some challenges when it comes to encouraging young people to register and to vote?
Sometimes it feels like we're coming from left field. Like when you go to college or university, it's a very liberal environment. There's a big activist space, which I feel like Bermuda is missing out on by not having a university. I mean, the college is a good start, but there's just something so progressive and intentional about being on a university campus. And I feel like a challenge is kind of bridging that gap. Like it can feel like we are kind of preaching to people who don't know that they should listen or who are just not interested yet because they haven't had the education or it's not a conversation. So there's a lot of educational gaps among the youth because of that political culture of young people should be seen and not heard. And then that's a double layer if you're a girl or if you're Black or whatever the case may be. So that's a big gap. I think just the Bermudian culture, but also maintaining engagement when young people are actively being kind of discouraged. Being vocal in Bermuda is not popular, especially when you have a group of populists or who I think are populists who are kind of maintaining tribal lines of like us versus them. So I guess it's difficult because young people, we're trying to get them engaged, but they have educational gaps. And then we're also kind of in tension with adults and sometimes politicians because they think that we're out of place or out of line to be interested in politics or even just have an opinion, which I think is rubbish. But in Bermuda, it's pretty common.
We've got a question in the audience. And audience, if you have any questions or comments, send them through. Charles H. Jefferson Saxon's asking, is Bermuda Youth Connect in the business of endorsing candidates? If not, why not?
That's a good question. We thought about it and I think we had a kind of debate like the one we had last night in the group chat. And I think where we landed is not yet. We don't think that's our place. Like our mission is to just bridge the gap between young people and our leaders. And we haven't felt a need yet to endorse a candidate. In good conscience, I don't even think I could do that. I don't even think we want to do that. Like our role is not to make decisions for young people, but to remind them and give them tools to make decisions themselves so they can operate independently and just become comfortable within their agency. So no, I think an alternative would be creating like a scorecard or a report card for politicians. So what did this politician run on, and then what did they do when they were in office? I would be interested in doing something like that because it's informative, it's transparent, and then it can kind of encourage young people to make their own decision. So as of now, no, but it's never going to be a flat out never. Like perhaps we will in the future, but as of now, we're mostly focused on informative and educational content.
Okay. What's the ideology of Bermuda Youth Connect? Is there one solid ideology as a group, or is it individuals have their own perspectives?
Yeah, there's no solid ideology. We do fight, like we have a lot of heated debates because there's a diverse kind of diverse range of interest in the group, which I think is a good thing. I think it keeps us sharp. But I think most of us, we're young. Young people tend to be a bit more progressive than adults and their counterparts. So I think we're all typically mostly progressive. Like I don't think any of us identify as like a libertarian or like a conservative. So I think we align on values, but we often disagree on how we should get there. So I would say mostly consistent, but there's no one set ideology, and hopefully there never will be.
Sounds like the TDH crew.
Yeah.
Legit, right? But I think the work's incredibly important. I feel how I feel. Keep in mind, I always tell people, almost like, I don't know if you guys remember Charles Barkley in the 90s. Well, Tierrai 90s, 2000. But in the 90s, Charles Barkley was known for always publicly saying, "I'm not your role model. You should." Child's role model. And I kind of think the same about me. I tell people, when I get on this show and I speak, I'm not really trying to change anyone's mind. I'm letting you know how I feel, my perspectives, and really just to make you think or consider another perspective. But thinking like me or living like me is not my goal. So I appreciate that, you're trying to lead people to a space, but not necessarily tell them what to do. However, in the process, you're giving them enough information so that they can make an educated decision based on whatever is, important to them. I think the report card thing, I think that's amazing. I think it's good. Like, I think that's the way it should be. But if there's a new person coming along, I'm like, well, what have they done in the community? I think, to get to that space, what have you given to the community? One of the first things I look at, and I don't want to call any names, but you have some people who do very well in the entertainment space in Bermuda, right? I'm going to pick on Mia, actually. I'll pick on Mia because it's easier to hear. But you will know Mia as much as an entertainer as you will an environmentalist, right? So that's her cause, right? I always try to figure out when I see people, I'll use cup match players. Okay, we celebrate for 2 days. We're out there supporting these players. Which of these players have taken up a cause, right? You look at athletes the world over, right? Michael Jordan took a lot of heat for years because he stayed silent. What was his slogan? Republicans buy sneakers too. Well, I saw that yesterday in the mall too. But anyway, my point is, I'm dead serious. Guy bought his first Jordans. But in saying that, I think the work you're doing, I don't think it should be dismissed or understated. Getting people, helping people. You're literally doing the work for people, and that's what's needed. I don't think you're trying to make decisions for them, and that's so important to Ray, that you're not trying to tell them what to do. But Mia asked earlier, what's the overall goal? You said as many people as possible, but what would be a realistic number in terms of, we like to talk numbers, like if the amount of people leave in Bermuda, we don't know, but what would be a realistic number to get new voters registered at least?
Well, I would say, I guess I'd aim for maybe somewhere in the hundreds, whether they can sign up online, because that's always an option. Like you can register to vote on the Parliamentary Registry website. But I think for today, perhaps maybe 50 to 100, because during the snap election, it was 2020, and now in 2024, now for this by-election, people who were 16 are now 20. So there's a lot of new voters who are entering the scene, and I think we just want to make sure that they are active before the next general election. But something also that you said, Jamel, about like how we rate our leaders, we typically evaluate political leaders in two ways, which is either competency and character. Competency is like, does this person make sense when they talk? Do they seem strategic? And then characters, like, do they have integrity? Do they take accountability? So I think even for people who just come onto the political scene, there's an opportunity for some kind of evaluation. I mean, humans evaluate other humans all the time. Like, it's very quick to make snap judgments, and we do that all the time in politics. So we'd be very happy to kind of do evaluations like that for people who are just coming onto the political scene. And recently, we just posted something on Instagram called The Psychology of Voting. And I guess it's just encouraging our audience to take voting not as like just this one action, but as a part of broader actions that in civil society to encourage political participation. So if you're a young person watching this, check this out. Check it out. There's a quiz in our bio called the Ocean Quiz, where you can kind of evaluate your 5 personality traits and how those would lend to your political habits and behaviors. But yeah, we'd be very open to kind of evaluating new candidates, and we're hoping that young people see themselves as other ages as well.
So real quickly, I know we're almost out of time, but that leads me to this, Tierrai. You just mentioned that the 4 of the young ladies part of Bermuda Youth Connect are about to embark on their master's degrees. Not sure if you're actually leaving Bermuda to do it or some are doing it online. But saying that, while your focus is on registering young people to vote, what's the thought for Bermuda Youth Connect on the absentee ballot, like the being able to cast a vote while you're overseas? Or is your, I mean, because there's no point, I was speaking to someone yesterday who has an 18-year-old just started college, and about the general election in Bermuda, and basically said, well, I hope, who, I'm not going to say the name, but it's referring to the premier, who holds it when school is out so young people can vote. But what is you guys' stance on the absentee ballot for Bermudians who are not local?
We were appalled that it didn't exist in 2020. I mean, luckily we were home during the pandemic, but we're appalled. Of course, we need absentee ballots. I mean, it's 2024, so we're definitely fully behind it. And in 2020, we advocated for it, and we intend to advocate for it more in the future. But our thoughts are it should be a thing, not just for students abroad, but also people who live abroad. Bermudians who live abroad are still a part of the country. I also think that there needs to be some kind of registry. I know there are a lot of people who've said this. I know Charles H. Jeffers is a really big advocate of creating a register of Bermudians who are living abroad, just in a consensus, but also just as a way to get information about our population. So generally, we're very supportive of absentee ballots for students. And we hope that we can kind of make some strides to make it a reality in the future, especially as we look to a general election next year.
Thank you, because they removed me for no reason at all. They removed me. I'm serious. And I think it's discrimination. Yeah,
I agree. I'm appalled that you can't vote, Jamal, actually. I think it's awful. But I also think it would maybe incentivize people. I know we're crying out for population, but if you could actually use your vote while living overseas and have control in some regard over what's happening and who you want to see in power, might incentivize many Bermudians to move back.
Yes, absolutely.
I pay my taxes.
And the thing is, Jamal, with you, you're also involved locally, right? Like you were never not thinking about what's happening in Bermuda. But even for people who are not, I think it's a good way to, like Mia said, attract them. And that reminds me, last night at the Democratic National Convention, they have something called Democrats Abroad, and they have about 20 votes on the DNC roll call. So it's like, it's not a new phenomenon. But like most things, Bermuda has just taken a while to catch up. But I think there's enough interest from the public, and the right people are interested, like the people who would do something and not just tweet about it are interested. So I'm hoping to see some strides on that front as well.
All right, we're aligned, folks. We're gonna fight along. I'm serious. Honestly, I thought about it because at first I didn't care much. I'm like, yeah, I ain't going anyway, whatever. But I'm like, no, it's about having that right. It's about having, that I pay my taxes. And again, I'm not saying that gives me more power than any other Bermudian. It shouldn't, right? At the end of the day, that should be our birthright, the ability to vote.
Yeah, you're a Bermudian. You should be able to vote, no matter where you are living. You should be able to vote. You should be able to have a say in the place where you're from. It's just it's wrong otherwise. I believe. And as a woman who we were blocked from voting for a very long time, not able to vote. It just doesn't sit right with me at all. It just seems like another way to just block people. It just seems very. I just think it's wrong. So I think that they in 2024, as Tierrai said, we can do everything else online. because she didn't register to vote. It's ridiculous.
Back you all. My team. We're coming. We're coming. We're getting me back on that voter registration for what is it? 2024, 25. He could call it up until next year, right? 25.
Yeah. I mean, I would say fight it, Jamel. I mean, I know the parliamentary registrar, Tania Woolridge, was on here a couple months ago, and she said that you have to be ordinarily resident in Bermuda to be able to vote. I think we can challenge it, and I think there's, like I said, enough interested people to challenge it. So hopefully,
challenge it. But what I find interesting about that is, how do you even know who's in Bermuda and who's not? I mean, if I weren't doing this show, would you really know that I wasn't ordinarily a resident for it? Like, you get what I'm saying? It just seems like it's done in a way that would have been done in the 50s or 60s when women and black people weren't able to vote. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. And also, you don't even know who's leaving. There's no numbers to know who's even leaving. So how do you even know who's anyway?
There are people who have lived in the UK, and I know some people who are still able to vote, and I'm not. So I'm like, yeah, it seems like they're picking on me. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be a victim. I'm just saying. Let's go to the audience. Charles H. Jefferson, he says, realizing that the first step is getting people registered. How do we get them interested and engaged to make informed decisions when voting?
Well, I think the first step is making them feel like agents. So if a young person is getting registered to vote, then they are physically putting themselves out there. Like, there's this intention to be involved in the community. And I think the next step, hopefully that kind of plants a seed of interest. So whether it's following Bermuda Youth Connect, following Bermuda is Love, or asking their teachers or asking their friends, hey, what do you think about this person? Or tuning in when we interview all the constituency reps. So I think that's the first step, getting them to see themselves as agents, and then engaging with the material that's already out there. For example, we have a youth column in the Royal Gazette where we publish opinion articles, opinion pieces about the state of Bermuda, about the state of politics and the state of the country. So then they will engage with information that's already out there. And then lastly, they would do what they do as young people. I mean, we're always on the internet. Most politicians these days have like social media accounts. So we'll do a lot of research, and we think that young people can do that because they already are. The problem is we don't think that politicians have met young people where they are. So I think the next step, because young people are interested, that's going to generate enough attention where politicians kind of pay attention to them as like a group worthy in quotes, worthy of their kind of commitment and investment. And then as far as informed decisions go, I have kind of mixed views on this. I think the most important thing is that young people are making decisions, and as long as they're engaging with some information and not just taking their parents' view, I tend to be okay with it, because I think you'll learn as you go. You'll develop your political ideology. My political ideology is always changing. So I think we're less interested in making sure they make the right decision, but making sure that their decision is theirs and theirs alone on the island of Bermuda. So I think, yeah, that's basically where we stand. See themselves as agents, engage with information out there, and then kind of start that process again.
I think you kind of answered this as well from Mark Arthur C. Phillips, your perspective. Do the youth of this country follow politics very closely in Bermuda?
Yeah, I think they try to. I think they try as best they can. I remember Maya did a story called Ghosted by Government, which basically showed that politicians didn't really engage on social media, or when they did, it was like posting one picture a year. And I mean, you know, it's difficult to engage in that as a young person. So I think they do, but I think we've been let down. I think that's changing now because politicians are starting to see the power and necessity of social media. So I think they do what they can, but there's definitely a lot of work to be done, which leads me to say that the voter registration drive is today at City Hall on Nellie's Walk from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's going to be constituency members there. I know we have confirmed members from the Free Democratic Movement, from the One Bermuda Alliance, and from the youth wing of the Progressive Labor Party, Progressive Minds. So that would be a great opportunity to talk to people who are part of those groups. If you like them to say like, hey, who are you? What do you do? And I think that's a really nice way for young people to at least get started.
I think I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Now let's walk today at 5 p.m., right?
11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
11 p.m. to 5 p.m. Sorry, I'm telling 5 p.m. and it'll be over. It's 11 p.m.
And no more cookies left. There are no more cookies left.
Yeah, real quickly. So I think that we may be onto something. So Suzanne Ingham says they need to put you back on the voters list, Jamal. I'd be the first to sign a petition, put Jamal back on the voters list. Now, Charles says, is this a cause that TDH will be picking up? If so, sign me up. And Suzanne says, Jamal, you're being bullied by the voters registration department. Get your petition going now. And Charles agreed with what Mia had to say about it earlier. He said exactly, Mia. But in saying that, look, I'm all for it. Honestly, I have the time. I think it's important. And honestly, folks, I joke, but it's really not about me. It's really not about me. There are so many Bermudians who are overseas, maybe just working for experience before they return. And they should have a say in how the country is the state it's in when they return, right? If they choose to. I think it's ludicrous that more noise isn't made about this. It should be a priority. That's your birthright.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Someone asked, Kia Renee BDA, will it be live streamed today, you guys out there? Will you be doing any social media while they're out there?
We're going to be posting photos and videos of the event itself, but because it's like a participatory event where we're just inviting the general public, inviting youth to come and register to vote, we probably won't be live streaming just for, I think, privacy stuff. If somebody doesn't want to be recorded, we don't want to record them. So no, it won't be live streamed, but also there won't be any real speeches or any commentary from the politicians. It's just kind of like, think of it like a bake sale. Like if you want cookies, you go and get cookies. But now this voter registration drive, if you want to get registered to vote, or if you don't know what you should be registering to vote for, you just want to talk about politics, you just go and you get your fix of Bermudian politics. And then you go.
Okay. We've got a few more. We've got to wrap it up, but I'll just go through these. Yes, Knockout C. Phillips, correct. I think Premier Brown was the first to use. Dr. Ewart Brown, I mean, he would argue with people on Facebook. I remember. He because Barack Obama made it really normal to go on social media. And then Dr. Brown followed. But he would go back and forth with people. I remember that. But he definitely was the first Bermudian politician who was very active on social media. Renee Simmons says, yes, Bermudians overseas can't vote in their chosen location, so they should be able to vote for their home constituency no matter where they're living. Americans living here still vote. Yeah, I think, honestly, I don't think we've been given good information as to why we can't vote, have the absent ballots. But anyway, Tierrai, stick around before you go. Just let people remind people again. It's today, Nella's War, 11 to 5. And will there be another voter registration drive after this?
It depends on how this one goes. I would say we'd love to host another event, but as I said before, we're all pursuing master's degrees. So we're not ordinarily resident in Bermuda to host a voter registration drive again. So perhaps before the next general election, we will. But it's today at City Hall on Nellie's Walk. If you don't know where that is, it's like, imagine you're coming out of Washington Mall. It's just right in front of you. And it's there from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So come on your lunch break, come in the morning when you go for a little walk, maybe go for a little mindful meditation, but just go and chat. They'll be there all day. There's going to be giveaways from the parliamentary registry. There's going to be cookies from Amani's Cookies, and there's going to be a lot of sheets for everyone to register, and there's going to be constituency representatives, so you'll be able to meet some members from each party.
One of our older members in the audience, Jeffs II, is asking, is there any age limit for today's registration drive?
No, there isn't an age limit for today's voter registration drive. We ask that, of course, you have to be 18 or older to register to vote, but if you are like 60, 70, and you just want to come and see what the youth are doing, definitely go ahead. We think that's a problem in Bermuda. There's a big generational divide between the youth and the elders. So although we're called Bermuda Youth Connect, it really is a Bermuda project where we're trying to engage everyone. So feel very free to stop by. Just don't eat all the cookies.
All right. Tierrai, stick around. We're going to take a quick break, minute 51 seconds. We'll come back. We're going to do Daily Place. And Mia, both of you are going to have a chance to guess today.
Oh, no.
It's music. Guess the lyrics. This song belongs to both of you. All right? Stick
around. Am I going to have to sing?
I'm going to ask you to sing just because you said that. Give us a like, a love, thumbs up. Share this conversation with your friends, family, and colleagues. We'll be back in a minute 51 seconds. Stick with us. Great news. Our Beat the Heat special has been extended through August 31st while supplies last. Keep cool with our further discounted Carrier high-efficiency mini-split units, plus enjoy 10% off Comfort Zone oscillating fans. Comfort Air units, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000, and Hunter ceiling fans when you pay with cash. Don't miss out on these hot deals to stay cool.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All right, welcome back to Big Shots, the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House India, People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you've appreciated the conversation today, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, ladies, it is music today. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. What song do these lyrics belong to? Beat me, bash me, you can never trash me. Hit me, kick me, you can never get me.
That they don't really care about us.
Is it Michael Jackson?
She got it. She got it. She got it. Bash me. Go ahead, sing it, Mia. Come on now. Give it to us. Give it to
I
us.
don't really know the lyrics because all I hear is all I want to say is that they don't really care about us.
Oh, period. Mia, keep going.
There you go. All right,
Oh
so
my gosh.
let's give it to Chica Reyna. Let's give it let's throw her in the runnings. Chica Reyna, you'll get that. We'll give her in, but no, I think you both said MJ, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. That was pretty good, but that was a hit. I think that's appropriate. I think that's an appropriate song right now.
I think it's very, very, very on the nose. Love that. Love it.
Okay, well, let's give our final thoughts. Obviously, we were talking about the air. You didn't give us an opinion on that neither, Tierrai, as well. The airlift to Bermuda. Final thoughts on the airlift in Bermuda. What are you thinking on that?
I think a daily flight to Chicago would be great. So I think that would be the daily route that I would love to see. But yeah, I don't know. I think Bermuda's in trouble if airlifts are reducing, and then also where people are going to stay, beds are reducing. So there has to be some innovation from the BTA, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mia, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is I agree. And one of the modes of innovation would be to allow people to vote who are overseas so that they can come back and then they can, become economically prosperous and maybe come with some ideas and build hotels. And who knows what some Bermudians are doing. Like I'm sure Tierrai and her group of amazing women. There's so many fabulous Bermudians doing so many incredible things overseas. Why not encourage them to come back here and, Bermudian excellence on high gear? Let's kickball change it up to the next level.
I absolutely love the way you connected this. Honestly, like no joke. Like she took me by surprise. I love the way you did that.
No, and she's absolutely right. It's like human capital, right? It's like the best thing that Bermuda has for it is it's not only location, but mostly it's people. So if we're not treasuring the people, then really and truly that is they're losing its greatest asset. But also on another note, it's like, how does Bermuda treat high flyers when they are in Bermuda? You know, like if you're really talented, if you have something that you want to do, if you have a mission, I feel like it's difficult to get it started in Bermuda for forces that have existed since the beginning. But I also think it's not only just talent attraction, but also retention. Like, what are we doing to keep Bermudians there and keep them prospering? Because I feel like it's really hard to be successful in Bermuda first. Oftentimes we value people when they leave the country, achieve something, and then come back because they're worth it.
Well, with less airlift, I mean, you'll do a better job of keeping them there if they ain't got no way to fly. But valid points. I mean, I again, as far as the airlift, I mean, it's basic economics, right? Supply and demand. You know, you create the demand. But also, I mean, as it relates to the young voters, I think that I love to focus on young people, getting people into it. I got interested in politics at a very young age. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately because it's stressful. It can be very stressful. But I had issues with laws. That's how I got involved. And I think it's really about young people finding a cause, right? I think that's what helps them stay engaged. Like, what's that cause? And I mentioned it earlier, you know, picking on Mia, like, you know about her cause. Once she starts talking, you know what she represents. Even with you, Tierrai, we know what you come with. We know what your ideals are. I think that's important, right? I tell people all the time that the thing about me as an individual is my mind can be changed. I'm not stuck in my way, right? I don't let the environment dictate how I treat people, nor how I feel about things, right? I am open to new information. If you tell me something, I'm going to read it. I may still feel the same after reading it, but I think we need to lead people, and I think Bermuda Youth Connect is doing an awesome job of leading people to where the information is. I'm grateful. I don't remember, maybe there was, but I don't remember a voter registration drive for me when I was young. I do remember, you know, political rallies, but I don't remember actual young people overseeing a voter registration drive. So I think this is a great work that you guys, another great thing that you're doing, good work that you're doing. Keep it up. And you know, we're fans of Bermuda Youth Connect. We do something monthly, and you also do the Royal Gazette, I believe, monthly as well. So keep up the great work, and keep the community abreast as to how they can support Bermuda Youth Connect with the many things that you're doing. Mia, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. But Tierrai, where can we find you? Is it at Bermuda Youth Connect on Instagram?
Yes, it's at Bermuda Youth Connect on Instagram, at BDA Youth Connect on Twitter, and then on Facebook, it's at Bermuda Youth Connect, and our email is bermudayouthconnect@gmail.com. And you can also find us on the RG Opinion.
Perfect. And you can also find you now here.
That too.
Okay, so your voices are being heard, and you're proving to our ancestors that their struggles were not in vain. Now we have one more thing we need to do to walk in our true power, and that is to vote.
Who's that by, Mia?
Believe it or not, I was so shocked. Beyonce.
Oh, really?
Oh, Queen Bee.
Queen Bee coming in hot.
Excellent.
I'm gonna start some trouble. She's about to sue the Democrats for using her music.
No, she would not sue them because she gave Vice President, future Madam President Kamala Harris permission to use her song Freedom. And she also donated $4 million to Kamala Harris's campaign. So there would be no suing.
$4 million?
No suing at all.
She need to donate $4 million to the Daily Hour campaign. Then we're doing something, you know.
Absolutely, but I love that we are now proving to our ancestors that their struggles are not in vain. One thing we need to walk in our true power is to vote. I love that so much.
That. Thank you.
You hear that, Jamel?
Oh boy, here she goes. You know what? It's time. Folks. Don't forget. You got to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of the daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Mia Chambray. That's Tierrai. Right.
Wow.
I'm Jamel Hartman, folks. Please make it a safe and a great day. And go check out the voter registration drive. They have cookies.
The best cookies on island.
We are results. Cookie Monsters.